So I grew up in Cookeville, Tennessee, and my grandparents were the biggest Christian influence in my life. And I feel very blessed and forever grateful to them. So around the time I was around 9, I started drifting away from the church. I stopped going to church as often, and without that structure, I ended up leaving the faith, and that was my decision. And it did affect my life, where I felt resentful and just sort of unmoored, and I never really wanted to think about my faith at all, or Jesus. It was just kind of like an open-ended question in my mind where I just didn't want to think about it. We were getting ready to move to Arkansas for the very first time, moving out of state. So that's always kind of a little bit nerve-wracking and kind of scary. But so right as we were about to move out of town, move out of state, we were trying to figure out what to do with our 4 cats that we lived with. I've had these cats since I was around 8 years old, and so they had kind of grown up as my family members, and we tried to give them to shelters, and fortunately all of the shelters were full and nobody was willing to take them or could accept them. And so the only other option was that we had to put them down, and that really was devastating. It was terrible, and that was like the lowest point I had reached that far, and that year was already difficult for me enough. My dad had to make the phone call to the vet to schedule their euthanasia, and I was in the bathroom at my grandparents' house just breaking down, and that's when I just reached out. That was like my lowest point. That's what it took. That's what it took to get me back on track with my faith and with my relationship with God. After that, about 5 minutes later, my dad came back in from doing the phone call and said that there was an organization at the vet that was willing to accept the cats and save them from euthanasia. And that was an obvious prayer answer. That's what really proved to me that I needed to get back, because I had strayed for so long, and I needed to get back and get right with God, because He just saved my family members. my cats are my family members, so He just saved my family members' lives, and I'll forever be grateful for that. Basically, almost immediately after we moved is I had that kind of security connection severed with my grandparents, and so I didn't have them as kind of my main Christian influence in my life anymore, and so I knew that it was my responsibility now. I needed to find a church. And so we moved to Little Rock in July of 2022. And that is when I started researching churches in my area. And it was a huge blessing that I moved about 5 minutes away from Calvary, and I started watching the online live streams and everything, and was like, this seems like a really good place. This seems like somewhere I would be at home. And so I ended up joining in about August, and that was my first day that I came, and I have loved being part of the family. Honestly, I felt like I've been part of the family ever since, and that has really changed my life. And I love feeling connected and in a community, because especially since I was homeschooled, so I haven't really had that opportunity before, and it really has changed my life for the better. Being baptized feels like a personal and public commitment to the Lord. And it's a decision that I made for myself and also for the church, because I would like to become an official member, and I'm looking forward to becoming an official member. And also just because I want to have it known and for both other people and myself that I am taking this seriously and that I have gotten back into my faith and that I am the daughter of the Lord. One thing that I would love to let people know, maybe people who have gone through similar life experiences to me, or even people who haven't, that they might be going through a hard time right now, or just gotten out of one, or will go through one in the future, is that you're not alone. Even if you really feel like you are alone, you're never truly alone, and you are loved. My name is Alana, and I have decided to follow Jesus.